A while ago, on a very interesting day, someone's mirror lured him out of his bed and opened a doorway to another realm. I do not know if the mirror was being mischievous or malicious. Perhaps it was telling him that a peculiar rabbit had a role to play in his upcoming review. The rabbit was trying to enter the other world, but without a tune's heart, he can only see through. He felt so abandoned, like he was lost in the shadows again. He had a popular game when all of a sudden, his future games and other projects were gone, wasted. But the guy in the goofy hat assures him he had a popular legacy just like his half-brother for quite a long time. Satisfied with his progress, the lucky rabbit retired to his castle. But before the intruder could leave, he asked if he was up to play some games. After taking some turns on the controller and playing some other games, the Hatter returned to the mirror back home. To ensure the rabbit would still be remembered by others, the Hatter headed towards his couch to talk about an underrated gem for a very special occasion. An occasion he calls Disney Video Game Month.
Disney has always been the master of animation with some of their classic cartoons and timeless movies, from Snow White to Encanto. But they also like to experiment their artwork in other forms of media or companies, from collaborating with Pixar, making anime spin-offs from other companies they buy like Star Wars and Marvel, and becoming a big hit on television with their Disney Afternoon block and recent cartoons like Gravity Falls, Amphibia, The Owl House, and more. But one of their media has often been overlooked, but some still recognize by their craftsmanship, are their video games. The Disney video games are still part of the Disney archives for making video game adaptations of their cartoons and movies, while also making some original and imagined games, mostly implementing their iconic Disney characters into them. However, seeing how there's like over 300 games, for this Disney Video Game Month, I'm only going to talk about some original Disney video games, ones that aren't direct adaptations to their popular movies or classic cartoons.
So I figure starting off something epic by talking about Epic Mickey.
Released in 2010 exclusively on the Wii, this was the first game made by the now-defunct company Junction Point. It was part of Disney's effort to rebrand Mickey Mouse from the pleasant and cheerful character to an adventurous yet mischievous side of his personality like he was in his early days. And would be known for the comeback of one of Walt Disney's earliest creations, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, which the company finally got the rights back to the character from Universal. To this day, this game has a massive cult following for having a time capsule of all kinds of characters, cartoons, and merchandise during the days that Walt was alive, as well as being on a top list of video games that we actually want to see remastered like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. Plus, thanks to the popularity of the game, Oswald will make small appearances in Mickey Mouse shorts, merchandises, and rare meet and greets at Disney parks.
Welcome to another episode of the Wonder Reviews. Let's see if this game is truly a masterpiece. This is Epic Mickey.
It opens with Mickey sleeping, recreating his famous Alice short through the mirror. He hears a strange noise through his mirror and enters into Yenshin's workshop. The sorcerer had just finished up his creation of building a world for forgotten tunes. But Mickey decides to play with it, which ended up creating a monster called the Shadow Blot. It got out of control, so he ran back home to avoid getting caught, leaving Yenshin's work becoming the Wasteland. As the years passed, Mickey became a celebrity, and the Shadow Blot comes back to haunt him and send him to the Wasteland so he can steal Mickey's heart and enter the outside world. Now Mickey must defeat the Shadow Blot and get back home with some help from Gremlin Gus and the leader of the Wasteland, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. The story is the best part of the video game. It's one of the best world buildings I've seen in a video game. The idea of entering a world of forgotten tunes is plain ingenious. Many of the characters and artifacts in the Wastelands are characters that were created by Walt Disney, like Horace, Clarabelle, the Mad Doctor, Gremlins, and especially Oswald. I also like Wasteland being a dark, twisted version of Disneyland, and some of the locations are modeled after the theme parks and their themed areas with a dystopian look to them. Another thing that's nice in here is the interaction between Mickey and the Forgotten Toons. It not only fleshed out the inhabitants, but revealed the backstories of Wasteland before and after Mickey caused the Thunder disaster. For example, there's Mickey's enemy, P, where he actually has other versions of himself like Small P, P-Tronic, and P-Pan. The best case about this is regarding the interaction between Mickey and Oswald. Mickey is the brave hero that sometimes screws up, but he wants to try to fix what he caused, while Oswald is the lonely rabbit that wishes to be in Mickey's world as a famous toon, but still wants to uphold his responsibility as the protector of Wasteland.
As the game progresses, it would go deep into Oswald's past during the Thunder disaster and explains how much he lost everything he holds dearly, and the Thunder disaster would impact everyone else that lives there, like Horace's career as a detective, the pirates being turned to animatronics by Captain Hook, and the Mad Doctor turning against Oswald as his partner and teaming up with the Shadow Blot for power. However, the reintroduction of forgotten characters is not the only thing people remember from this.
Like the story, the visuals are the highlights of the game, and they really are incredible. Since Wasteland is meant to be a dark version of Disneyland, the backgrounds and settings do capture the look of the theme park with some unique differences. These include Mean Street being the main hub of the game, Gremlin Village is a defunct version of Fantasyland and It's a Small World ride, Oztown is Wasteland's version of Toontown as its cartoony Pleasant Town, Tomorrow City is a rundown futuristic location, Ventureland is a dark jungle with pirate themes, Black Easy is a murky bayou with Lonesome Manor being a giant haunted mansion, Dark Beauty Castle is a shadowy medieval version of Sleeping Beauty's castle, and Mickey Junk Mountain is a humongous dumping ground filled with Mickey-related memorabilia. In addition, some of the 2D cartoon levels like Steamboat Willie, Plutopia, Clockwork Cleaners, and more capture the look of the respective shorts. As for the characters, while some characters do feel like copy and paste like on the Pirates and Lonesome Ghost, the rest of the inhabitants and main tunes of the game stay true to the Disney cartoons. This also includes some of the enemies like the Blotlings and the Beetleworks, which the latter contains a mixture of mechanical parts based off a Disney character or property. With the movements, they do capture the cartoony reactions while still being an action-packed game when Mickey comes across some enemies. There are also the cutscenes. While the cinematic ones only occur at the beginning and the end, giving that 3D cinematic look to them, some of the 2D versions do have nice art styles and stay true to the dark atmosphere of Epic Mickey. And then there's the use of ink where it can present some nice special effects whenever Mickey uses his paintbrush or when the Shadow Blot or his minions ooze some of it out.
Another element I enjoy from this game production is the music. Whenever Mickey goes through a themed area of Wasteland, it does capture the dark essence, but still has that pleasant vibe that it is a place for forgotten tunes. But I bet you're asking, how does Epic Mickey holds up as a playable game?
As you may know, the first game was made exclusively for the Wii. It was originally also going to be on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, but they stick solely on the Nintendo console due to the motion controls being a good fit to move the controller like a paintbrush. And to its credit, the gameplay is pretty good. However, there are still a few problems. One is the automatic camera movement, where it doesn't seem to get the right angle whenever Mickey walks around or moves to a corner. Another is the lack of voice acting. After Mickey enters the Wasteland, it's basically nothing but grunting sound, which feels weird whenever someone makes a conversation. The only character that actually talks in this game is Corey Burton reprising his role as Yen Sid from Kingdom Hearts, but that only occurs at the beginning and the end of the game. And it may vary to some people. Some of the side quests like from Pete's Bunny Children Hunt and Horace's detective investigation can get tiresome and repetitive fast. These are the only issues I would have with the gameplay, but the rest are a lot of fun. The motion controls are actually good, and you do feel like you are wielding the magic paintbrush, and it is amazing to paint and thin enemies in areas. While the other abilities like Spin Attack and the sketches like TV, Time, and Anvil are easy to get used to. There are also the 2D projection levels where they go into details on some of the cartoon scenes and obstacles, and it is enjoyable jumping and walking through these shorts. Even the unlockable contents are working at 100% completion, where you had to find or buy storyboard and artwork content, power-ups, and collectible pins. And whenever you find and free a gremlin, they can either reward you or help you on your mission. I'll also give credit that the boss battles are fun to fight. Some are simplistic like the Small World Clock Tower and Pete-Tronic, while the others are a bit challenging like Captain Hook, the Mad Doctor, and the Shadow Blot, both for regular and final form. And what's even more interesting about Epic Mickey is that it's a choose-your-own adventure game where you get to decide the fate of the characters, including the bosses. If you use paint to defeat some villains, you not only get a paint capacity and get a collectible pin, but they will also receive a good ending. If you defeat them with Thunder, same thing, only they will receive the bad ending. As for the other characters like the inhabitants, if you continue to help them like solve Horace's detective work, uphold Pete's reputation, or manage Mean Street, or retrieve all the body parts on some of Mickey's animatronic friends, they will get a good ending. If you don't help any of them, they won't live happily ever after.
No matter which path you choose or how to defeat the bosses, you won't collect everything in one playthrough. It takes 2 or 3 to collect all the pins and other unlockable features. But no matter how many times I play this game, whether it's a new game or a new game plus, I'm still having a blast with this.
Epic Mickey is truly an epic, dark, twisted Disney game with a great story, amazing visual and forgotten relics, and a good gameplay. This is a must-have and play for Disney fans. And if you're into 3D platformer games as say Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, you will have fun with this. It's still an amazing Mickey video game as it was over 11 years ago, and it's still a hidden gem that is memorable. I'm going to give the first game an A- and the Diploma of Destiny.
Now before I wrap this up, I'd like to share my top 10 favorite 2D cartoon projection levels from the first game.
Number 10, Sleeping Beauty. Number 9, Fantasia. Number 8, Alpine Climbers. Number 7, The Whalers. Number 6, Lonesome Ghost. Number 5, Jungle Rhythm. Number 4, The Haunted House. Number 3, Oh What a Night. Number 2, Through the Mirror. And number 1, Steamboat Willie.
I'm Matt Harpatrick. Now if you'll excuse me, Disney Video Game Month has just begun!
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe me for a new review and other project every week. I'll see you soon.